I've been trying to figure out how to feel about this, and I feel pretty good, but I need to know how you're gonna feel. So let's figure it out together. What's up, guys? MtgJedi here. How you doing today? I have been thinking about this all morning, and I'm pretty excited to share it with you. I think some players are going to be like easy skip, but I want to provide reasons why players would go for this fusion. So I'm going to get this on screen here, and we're going to talk about this sweet new dwarf fusion and why it is very interesting and different from basically every champion that's in the game. So this morning, I get to reveal to you Granite Doorkeep, and this is another one of those dwarves who is like having some gemstone issues growing out of him and whatnot. But there's a couple of things to pay attention to here right off the bat. Number one, HP based champion, dwarf, and he's also spirit. Man, do I think that that is a potent combination. Like, if you're looking at your inventory, if you're looking at your champion roster here, like, what options do you have as a damage dealer in this faction unless you did the Thal infusion or got lucky with Trunda or Arnorn? Other than that, you're relying on an epic champion like probably Gala. There's just so many players who don't have a good damage dealer in this faction. The enemy max HP damage dealers are not really good for the waves. Maybe Uzol, but I haven't really messed with him. I think some people were saying he had decent multipliers. You can use Oskrin as an ally attacker to like get your damage in. What's his aura? Speed in arena battles. I want this guy. I think he's really cool. Mountain King, obviously a great single target damage dealer. Herndig can be used in a pinch. Tormin can obviously be used to control them. A lot of people are just using Geomancer to put their attacks back on the attacker. So having another damage dealer in here other than the mythical Frolny as well, having another damage dealer in this faction, I think is actually a great addition. But let's look at his actual kit, because that's where I think that we're going to have a really interesting decision to make. There is so much going on with this kit, guys. So much going on with this kit. And you will definitely find a use for him on your account if you do this, okay? Now, whether you want to or not, I don't know, but I'm going to get the breakdown, and then you tell me in the comments how pumped you are for the fusion. Obviously, we're going to all be sad that it's not Splinter or Casey Jones that they were sandbagging. It's not too late, player him. You can still do that. Add it in, okay? Add it in. We all want Casey Jones. We all want more turtles. Just add them in. Okay, so he starts out with an triple hitter A1 that has 100% chance to remove a buff from the target and also ignores 20% of the target's defense. He's supposed to be a damage dealer as per Plarium. They specifically say Granite is an arena first brawler designed to crack open buff heavy defenses and tear through Stone Skin stall teams. And like, yeah, I'm removing a random buff from the target is really, really good. They mention Fire Knight. I don't think this guy has any business being in your Fire Knight team, but you know, whatever the case might be, maybe normal Fire Knight. Then his A2 is an AoE that places increase attack, or excuse me, increase accuracy, and does decrease defense block buffs. So we have an ability that is similar to Ugo finally, except at the legendary level. And it is 100% chance with the books. Also, if this does good damage, then I think that this could be a really good option. Now, obviously, this is not going to remove any buffs, but his A3 kind of gets you around that. So let's look at what the A3 says. On the A3, this is a single target damage dealing ability before attacking, removes all debuffs from this champion and places a 15% shatter and an increased crit damage buff on all allies. He's going to ignore unkillable stone skin block damage. And if they don't have those, it's going to do double damage, and then it gets an extra turn after it kills an enemy. So he's kind of like He-Man or Georgid with this single target ability. Also, Ilil, kind of. And that is not a common ability at all. One of the reasons why I don't use Georgid very much and I use He-Man instead is because Georgid not very survivable. If he can get the unkillable buff on himself, great. But most of the time, he is just dying. And so this HP based champion with all of our damage based on HP is going to be way more survivable. So if you didn't get He-Man and you were like, man, I really wish I had gotten He-Man, this is the closest thing we've seen in a long time for He-Man. Maybe the closest thing in the game ever. You guys let me know. And HP based damage dealers are very rare as well. You may not even have a good one on your account. If you don't, you could try to build Magnar. He's still very good at the epic level. But then you have like Terrace, White King, both Void Legendaries, He-Man, which you can't get anymore. And obviously Empress should be mentioned in there as well because everyone can get him. At the start of his turn, he is going to remove all of these debuffs. Fear, True Fear, Provoke, Stun, Freeze, Sleep, Petrification. The only thing he can't do is deal with the sheep. So, running him with the sheep blessing, running him with the wand, those are great options to keep him from being sheeped. And he's going to increase his damage against targets with no buffs on them by 20%. So we can run other champions that remove buffs also. You know, like we could run an Empress with him. That sounds insanely good. We could run any of those champions who are going to remove buffs. Marius, but Marius maybe will just kill them. But like in Live Arena, for example, you draft Marius and this guy. That's a great combo, right? We could run Sulfurion. There's just so many champions that would pair really well with him. And if you have the Dwarf Unity champion, I think that this would be a great pairing as well. Increase as ally crit rate in all battles. I doubt we're using that aura. But I also think that this could be a Hydra and a Chimera champion. If we think about this passive, at the start of this champion's turn, removes the fear. So he can't be feared. That's a great combo. They're going to have no buffs on the Hydra heads because he's putting up block buffs. So that's going to be a 20% damage boost. And then he's going to get the Shatter, which we're going to look at in a second. He gives increased crit damage. And he can be our decreased defense champion with block buffs. I've been looking for champions to run as damage dealers that do decreased defense. Like, is this a comparable option for Toshiro? It's in the conversation. It is definitely in the conversation. Of course, we will need to see the multipliers. I will have test server access. Hopefully we can test this guy and see. And that will probably happen in the next couple of days. The fusion is set to start on Monday, I believe. I think that was part of this embargo. Next Monday, September 22nd. Okay. says we're planning to launch a fusion event. Does that mean that we are fusing epics into the legendary? I think so. It does not specify what type of fusion it is, but this seems like a classic fusion where we're getting epics, maybe the rares into the epics into the legendary. But I think this could also be a good champion for the Chimera. He brings increased accuracy, decreased defense block buffs, and he brings increased crit damage, all of which is a really good combination. And he can remove the buffs on the A1 in case they get them up there, if he's bad affinity or something. And then you could run a weakened champion like Mad Hatter, for example, or Estrid. And then you would have your Lydia combination because Lydia is still a trap. Anyway, moving on. Um, now what we need are better options for block active skills. If we could get better options for block active skills, then I think really a lot of people could remove Lydia from their teams. So, what do you think about this fusion? This Granite Doorkeep guy seems really powerful. I really like this combination, but what does that Shatter debuff even do? So let's come over into the game and find it. Where can we find it? On the champion screen? No. Here. Okay, cool. Debuffs? What does the Shatter debuff look like? That is a good question. I don't know what the Shatter debuff looks like. I guess we could look under here. Okay, cool. Freeze, block active skills like I was just saying, and all the way at the bottom probably. Smite, Iron Brand, Sheep, Poison, Enfeeble. Wow, we have a lot of debuffs. Is Shatter a buff? Oh, it's a buff. Increases this champion's ignore defense by 7.5%. Oh, wait, is that the 15% one? So if we take a look here, maybe zoom in here. Before attacking, places a 15% shatter buff. So it increases our ignore defense by 15%. So that would get us closer to 100% ignore defense, right? If we're running like a merciless gear set, that would get us to 45%. 6-piece merciless plus another 15%. Unless it's 15% of the ignore, in which case it's much less than 15%. I don't actually know how that's programmed. But that's a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage. What do you think of this guy? I think he's going to be very good. I do all of the fusions, but I would be doing this one if I didn't. I think that this is another good fusion in a year full of good fusions. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.